Hello, welcome to another episode of Auf Zoo. Today, my good friend Pratik Nahata and I are going to talk about what's happening in India IT, or rather, what are the trends that we're seeing on that vast continent that is coming forward with such a speed that you can only be amazed at what's happening there over the last few decades. Welcome back to the zoo, Pratik.
Hey Alf, good to be back.
It's almost midnight in India now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, well, I appreciate you taking the time to come and talk to me. An interesting thing happening in India right now is your election. A lot been written about that around the world, actually, because it will have a big impact globally. And with that election, a lot of new ideas and technologies popped up, especially in the social media world. What have you seen there?
So I think this year in elections, we saw some fantastic social media trends. Um, One aspect which I'd really like to highlight is the use of Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So we had all these political parties sending tweets, the news channels tracking which politician was getting tweets or responses and retweets. In terms of social media, there were jokes about politicians and political parties being circulated around in, WhatsApp forwards. The whole social media trend, including, political parties using Facebook and trying to figure out who has the highest number of followers. I think this was an extremely important aspect to get that younger generation involved with elections and sort of really pushing forward the political agenda using social media. So I think it's been a very important role that social media has taken part in these elections, and these political parties have invested a lot of money in
this. So compared to before, when you have to sort of get the information out there non-digitally, or even if it's digitally, it wasn't necessarily spread through the social networks, an awareness and thus an engagement opportunity presents itself, especially to the younger people that you haven't seen before.
Absolutely. I think there are a lot of reasons here. Between the last elections and now, smartphones have become cheaper, more powerful, data plan costs have come down, and you know what? It's cheaper to use a WhatsApp, which is free, than pay for an SMS, right?
Yeah.
And with this comes this huge set of videos, political agendas. I mean, you get phone calls from political parties asking them to vote for you. So this whole social aspect is a lot richer than someone sticking a billboard or handing you a paper leaflet. That's all passé and old-fashioned. I think social media is the way to go. And clearly, with these elections, the party which invested most in social media has come out strong.
Interesting. Do they use social media to gauge and do surveys and polling people and measuring where people are leaning or what they're doing around the elections? Like a big data collector?
I think in terms of trying to get impressions on sites of people visit, I mean the younger generation, the new 18-year-olds who just started voting, they're extremely active in social media and Facebook, and the new prime minister is going to be taking his oath on 26th, but he has an entire strong army of folks who help him with this social campaign. And I'm sure they've been able to track and get a lot of these younger people vote for him.
Is social media spreading beyond politics, like in music, entertainment, and so on?
Absolutely. I think maybe I can talk about Facebook. The younger generation, I heard trends that in US, a lot of the younger generation was sort of moving away from Facebook. But in India, it's not so. I mean, the younger generation is still pretty much Facebook savvy. They love doing their little updates and selfies on Facebook. So social media is still strong. At least Facebook is still strong in India. And the other big app which people spend a lot of time is WhatsApp. And these family groups, and I'm connected personally as well, people are uploading hundreds of photos every day, whether it's photos, videos, you name it. I mean, if WhatsApp was not there, how would I be connected to my family? And I think one of the biggest reasons is cost. It's free. And I tell you, if Facebook says, guys, WhatsApp is no longer free and we're going to charge you $100 a year, I can guarantee, I'd say 80% of the people using WhatsApp would pay for it. So $19 billion, people may think it's an astounding amount of money. Why would someone even pay? I thought the same. But you know what? It's a great tool. And it helps me connect. It's simple. My aunts and uncles who probably don't know how to use a computer use WhatsApp. And that's the power of social media and WhatsApp there.
That's amazing. Yeah, because I remember when the deal went down, there was all this talk about how, this will have Facebook take away revenue from telecom providers here in the U.S., which would be completely against their business strategies. I don't know what that thinking came from. The reason I'm buying it is because my daughters are using WhatsApp. Not that one, I use other ones, but similar. And the emerging world is huge on it. I mean, in India, you have multiple Americas in one country. So, as you said, you don't even have to monetize it the old-fashioned way. You can come up with new way of monetize things. Even drawing people from WhatsApp to Facebook, having a pool of billions of people in that part of the world, it's amazing. So it doesn't surprise me. But it's interesting how it's not just a cool app in India. It is what the rotary phone used to be back in the days, right? It's how you stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Now, with such a big country, though, there was this act you told me about one who got, I don't know how many followers just in the first day. What was that one?
He's an actor from South India. His name is Rajnikant. He's enormous. That's the word.
Bollywood stars.
It's not really Bollywood. Bollywood becomes Hindi movies. He's more into Tamil cinema.
Yep.
He started his Twitter account, I think, on the 5th of May, and he had 200,000 followers in 24 hours.
Wow, that's amazing.
And in 3 weeks, I think he's somewhere in the 400,000 range. It is phenomenal. Yeah. So if people think, tweets and India sort of doesn't really go, you're mistaken.
But it's really about, social media is really about connecting people that are in different places. And if you look at the vastness of your country, this will be the perfect place to do, especially with a mobile upcoming, entire country is lifting technically, especially on the younger generations up and coming. Do you think this will then translate into enterprise IT? Do you think that we will see, like we're starting to see in America, but slowly, a modernization of the tools we have at work? It used to be that work gave us the coolest tools. They gave you your cell phone. They gave you your first computer most of the times and introduced you to different technologies. Today, that's not the case. Today, my household is more sophisticated than the corporation I work for, and many people have the same situation. So it's almost like they are behind. Do you think, and I can imagine India is a similar situation, do you think this type of new technology will eventually make it into corporations?
I think it's already seeping in, and one of the markets that's really benefiting with this is retail. You have, these online stores like Flipkart, Snapdeal. They offer you discounts if you purchase from your mobile device. And there you go, a lot of people making purchase from their mobile devices now. You have, you can book your tickets, movie tickets from your Android or iPhone app, and then you get discounts. So they're actually encouraging people to use apps. And so directly, indirectly, this entire value chain of enterprise apps, they're really not enterprise apps. They're more end-user apps, but it's sort of encouraging people to get more savvy using these apps, and it's sort of percolating into the system. I use a banking app. I don't make calls, don't even get into my computer, just log into my app and check my account. If I need to request a new checkbook, all those things can be done on my mobile app. So people are spending more time on mobile apps than the desktops.
Interesting. Because I know that's what they say here, but that's obviously not the case. Even it's my job to sell, but I don't necessarily like to do things on the phone. I like a small laptop, even partial to a tablet, but the phone's a little bit tricky. But I've seen that despite me and my family in the Arab world, for example, if you take away their Blackberries, their life shuts down. This is their tool to do everything, not communicate only, but as you said, banking, retail, work, all that stuff on the mobile. Why do you think that is? Why is the mobile phone so important in some of these emerging markets?
So I think one of the key reasons is that in these emerging markets, people didn't really have laptops.
Mm.
And if your first device is a phone and not a laptop, you're very comfortable using the phone. The problem with you, my friend, is you were born with a laptop in your hand. And so you really need a 15.5-inch screen to do your stuff.
Yeah.
For someone who was born with an iPhone and never got to see a large screen, they're perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And I think that makes an interesting comment. And hey, the cost is less, your data plan is less, it's just easy. And if you really need to use a tool, you'll use it.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting trend. And also you see that the younger generation, the Gen Y folks, are more phone savvy than us. I mean, you're probably Gen X or somewhere between Gen X and Y.
Yeah.
But the Gen Y guys, I see my nephews and kids, they don't even talk to each other. They're WhatsApping each other or sending each other Facebook comments, and they're so comfortable with their phones. It's really amazing.
Yes.
And we can see that with trends in the way sales of laptops are going down and tablets and phones are going up. And also this entire switch in, hey, my phone screen needs to get bigger. The notes, the mini tablets, their sales are increasing, and that's one of the reasons. They're sort of trying to bridge the gap between the laptop and a mobile phone, which is very interesting,
That's why I thought when iPad Mini came out, people were skeptical, and I thought, no, that is exactly it. I think that is as big as my daughters, as you said, the Generation Y kids. That's about as big of a screen they need. Anything else is just for show, right? So if you can't do it on 9 inches or whatever, give up. So I think that's very interesting. Well, thank you, Pratik, for your time. I really appreciate to hear from you who live there full time and are integrated in society rather than just a traveler, sharing with us some of the things that we sometimes don't know about or take for granted. So I appreciate having you in the zoo again.
Awesome. Thanks, Alf.
Thank you. And
Bye-bye.
to the rest of you out there, take care. Bye-bye. Be safe.